completely shocked why all these terrorists are in our country and all these people are unvetted. All this chaos is happening when in our own backyard was unsafe. So thank you again for one. I know you traveled, you met with heads of state, El Salvador, Mexico, a couple that come to mind. But I just want to thank you and for making our backyard a priority and ultimately to keep Americans safe. Texans are more safe today than we were a year ago. And a lot of that is due to President Trump and due to the leadership that I'm seeing right here of executing those policies. Thank you, thank you, thank you. With that, Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I now recognize the gentlelady from Illinois, Ms. Ramirez, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Chairman.
This exchange between Congresswoman Delia Ramirez and DHS Secretary Kristi Noem is one of the most explosive moments we've seen in a congressional hearing in a long time.
American citizens have been arrested or detained. We focus on those that are here illegally.
Secretary Noem, you lie and you lied to the American people. I will be including into the record an article by ProPublica from October 16, 2025, entitled, "We found that more than 170 U.S. citizens have been held by immigration agents. They've been kicked." There's nothing smiling about U.S. citizens. I'm sorry, that's very inappropriate. Let me continue. They've been kicked, dragged, and detained for days. The next one.
The Trump administration has specifically targeted the worst of the worst. The individuals that we are going after are those that are violent criminals, those that are breaking our laws.
Secretary Noem, again, you lied to the American people. I will be including into the record an article by the NBC News from December 7, 2025, entitled, "ICE has arrested nearly 75,000 people with no criminal records, data shows." The co-equal branch of government, and it is your obligation as a member of the executive branch to honor decisions made by the highest court of the land. Yes or no, Secretary?
We are abiding by all federal judges' orders. Absolutely.
The Justice Department said that when the administration was ordered back in March to stop sending detained migrants to a mega prison in El Salvador, you personally made the final call to continue the flights anyway. Is that correct?
And the decisions that are made on deportations, where flights go and when they go, are my decision at the Department of Homeland Security. And we'll continue to do the right thing, continue to work and protect Americans, no matter what radical judge comes out and tries to stop us. We'll do.
You lied on the record, and you lied to members of this committee. You violated court orders by not turning around deportation flights bound for El Salvador, where we know that hundreds of people under your leadership have reported that they were raped, they were beaten, and they nearly died. And your agents used chemical weapons in Chicago despite court orders from District Court Judge Ellis forbidding their use. Secretary Noem, you, Gregory Bovino, and your ICBP and DHS deputized agents have waged an unaccountable, unlawful, unconstitutional war against communities across the nation. Our residents have been surveilled, they've been threatened, they've been tear gassed, they've been hit with pepper balls, they've been shot, they've been subjected to warrantless arrest and precision immobilization maneuvers, they've been kidnapped and disappeared under your leadership. So we have a lot to talk about, but you and your department continue to reject congressional oversight. And you know how I know this? I know this because I requested a meeting with ICE Field Office Director Russell Hutt. I requested a meeting with Field Office Director Samuel Olson. And when you came to Chicago on October 3rd, I publicly and formally requested a meeting with you. So I'm going to be including a letter I sent on October 3rd requesting a meeting with Secretary Noem. So Secretary Noem, I want to ask you again, will you commit to meet with me, yes or no?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have a lot to talk about. And actually, my scheduler has a couple dates that I'll get to you after this meeting. I appreciate that. So look, I want to be very clear. You have misused resources appropriated by Congress. You've engaged in unethical behavior. You have repeatedly made false and misleading statements to Congress and to the press, and you've undermined the separation of powers and disregarded the role of Congress and the courts. Bottom line, you lie with impunity. You reject checks and balances, and you ignore Congress and the courts. Your options are limited. Either you're going to resign, Trump's going to fire you, or you will be impeached. I've already called for your resignation. You may remember I hand-delivered my request to you back in May, and I urge you to reconsider resignation because I've taken the first step towards your impeachment, and I've called on the Judiciary Committee to open an investigation into your lawlessness. Mr. Chairman, I know that at the end we'll be entering a number of articles into consent, but since I have a few moments, I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a letter calling the Judiciary Committee to investigate Secretary Noem's impeachable offenses. Whatever you choose, the American people will have justice, Secretary, and you will be held accountable. I'm going to make sure of that every single day. With that, Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. I now recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Luttrell, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Madam Secretary. It's good to see you, and thank you again for coming to Texas after the Kerrville floods. Your team was amazing.
The hearing starts off in a familiar way. We hear praise directed at Secretary Noem, applause for enforcement-first immigration policy, and repeated claims that America is safer now because of aggressive DHS actions under President Trump. There's a lot of rhetoric about the backyard being left open, about terrorists, chaos, and unvetted people flooding the country. It's the kind of framing we've heard for years, urgent, emotional, and designed to justify sweeping enforcement powers. And then Delia Ramirez gets the floor. The energy shifts immediately. No slow buildup, no diplomatic preamble. Ramirez comes in hot, and intentionally so. Ramirez doesn't start with abstract principles. She starts with receipts. She accuses Secretary Noem directly of lying to the American people, not misleading, not misspeaking, lying. She enters a ProPublica investigation into the record, documenting more than 170 U.S. citizens detained by immigration agents. Citizens, not undocumented immigrants. People who were allegedly kicked, dragged, and held for days. And when Noem smiles, Ramirez calls it out in real time. She says it's inappropriate. And honestly, that moment matters, because it captures the emotional core of her argument, that these policies aren't just numbers or enforcement metrics, they're about real people being harmed. And then comes the closing salvo. Ramirez accuses Noem of misusing congressionally appropriated funds, engaging in unethical behavior, and repeatedly lying to Congress and the press. She lays out 3 possible endings: resignation, firing, impeachment. She reminds Noem that she's already called for her resignation, and that she's taken steps toward impeachment by urging the Judiciary Committee to investigate. This isn't rhetorical, it's procedural, it's a warning shot. And she ends with a promise: accountability will come, one way or another. What makes this exchange so important isn't just the volume or the accusations. It's what it reveals about where we are as a country. We're watching 2 fundamentally different views of power collide. On one side, an administration that believes national security and border enforcement justify extraordinary executive authority, even when courts push back. On the other, lawmakers arguing that no policy goal, no matter how urgent, gives the executive branch permission to sidestep the Constitution. Delia Ramirez isn't just challenging Kristi Noem as a cabinet secretary. She's challenging the idea that enforcement outcomes matter more than legal process. She's saying that safety doesn't excuse lawlessness, and that strength without accountability becomes abuse. And here's the uncomfortable truth: both sides believe they're protecting Americans. But history shows us something important. When governments start deciding which court orders matter and which judges can be ignored, that power never stays neatly contained. It doesn't just target the people you're told to fear. It expands, it hardens, and eventually it reaches people who thought they were safe from it. That's why oversight matters. That's why hearings like this matter. That's why this exchange matters. Because democracy isn't tested when everyone agrees. It's tested when power is challenged face to face, on the record, in public. Whether you see Ramirez as courageous or confrontational, whether you see Noem as decisive or defiant, this moment forces a real question. Who is watching the watchers? And if Congress can't enforce accountability and courts can't enforce their rulings, then the system isn't just strained, it's being rewritten in real time. That's the stakes here. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit like, subscribe for more long-form political commentary, and drop your thoughts in the comments.